A good evening, this is Nerd to Human, and welcome to this guide to unlocking the Papal States in Medieval 2 Total War. Now, whilst I have played as the Papal States on the channel before, I haven't put together a simple guide for playing as this most intriguing of factions. Until now, it is actually a very simple process, and to do so you don't even need to unpack the files, though there is a guide for that should you want it. The Papal States campaign is a fascinating one as you have no family tree and no princesses, and of course your faction leader, the Pope, is voted for in an election. Most of this campaign plays the same as any other, so you can train priests and cardinals in order to stack the cardinal college in your favour and thus select your preferred pope, but of course the most fun is to be had by embracing the chaos of changing popes. A quick warning that despite being the Christian leader of the world, the Catholic faction certainly will attack you, and your faction relationships can shift very suddenly with changes of popes. You can get a more steady experience of diplomacy by following my guide, but be warned that the Papal States campaign can be very chaotic indeed. So how can we make this all happen? To start with, we need to open up Medieval 2 in our files and head into the data folder. From here you go down to World, to Maps, Campaign, Imperial Campaign, and both the important files we need are in here. To start with though, we need to open Deska_strat. In here, the only thing we need to do is this one small job. Take the Papal States from the non-playable section and paste them in to the playable section up at the top here. And with that, we can simply save this up and load the game. From here, we can now play as the Pope, but there is one key problem to solve. As the Pope, you can attack factions to excommunicate them, and you can offer reconciliation, a powerful diplomatic tool. However, if you try to call a crusade, it will seemingly fail every time. Funny enough, the Pope can go rogue AI and call a crusade of his choosing, something that caused chaos in my Papal States campaign. To remedy this issue, we need to go back to the files and make one small change. Before we do that, just a quick mention of the channel membership that you can join here on YouTube or on Patreon should you wish to further support what we do here. It is always so wonderful to have more people watching, commenting and subscribing on the channel, so do spread the goodly word. Back in the files then, and from the Imperial_campaign subfolder, we will simply move from Deska_strat to campaign script, so let's open that up. For this part, I'm simply going to head straight down to the bottom of the file and paste in some pre-prepared text. I will post it in a pinned comment for your ease of access. It is simpler to do it this way as it is just a little bit wordy. Basically, as calling the Pope to call a crusade is a function of your faction standings, we want to make sure that the player's faction standing is full. It's at 1.0. The Pope may still choose to call his own crusade, but now you can at least choose to launch one yourself should you wish. I have seen other suggested solutions to this before, but this is the only one that has worked for me. So with that done, let's save the file and let's load the game. So now when we load the game, you can see that the crusade request will be fulfilled at your command. Perfect. You are now ready to go forth and be a pacifist Pope. One other unique flavour of the Papal States campaigns are the Inquisitors, which are worthy of a moment's attention. They not only can be used to snipe off generals and princesses, but also Muslim characters like the Timurid leaders. They can be remarkably useful. They also act on their own accord if you don't use up their movement points, so it is good to be aware of that, though in general this is nothing to worry about. You can leave them to their own devices. They will generally also retire, so to speak, after 3 kills, so they will never get too overpowered, but they are surprisingly numerous in my experience. And sadly, in spite of my efforts, I've not managed to make them recruitable, they simply spawn. I do welcome in the comments anyone who can enlighten us on this, so if anyone knows, do comment it down below, but I haven't managed to figure it out or indeed find a solution online. And if you've been around the channel for a while, you may remember an Easter special where I showed you how you can change the Pope to be pagan, heretic, orthodox or Muslim, among other ways of breaking the game. So if you really want a wild ride, then do look into that video for your own personalised modded Pope experience. If you prefer, you may simply want to spice up your campaign by adding new units to the faction, and there are certainly guides for that here too. For now though, I think it's time to leave you. Thank you for joining me here today on this guide to playing as the Pope on Medieval 2 Total War. Do let me know how your Papal States campaigns have gone down in the comments below. I do think it is one of the more unusual campaigns out there. Thank you friends, and tally-ho. Have you heard the good news, my friends? Here's the good news! It's the Pope! Has the Pope ever done as badly as I'm doing as the Pope right now? God only knows. God only knows. Down goes the spoon of destiny. And there he goes. It took every last bolt we had